We got it. We're on Instagram.
Welcome, everybody. Let me make sure they're live here. Make sure our sound's going. Can you guys hear me? Let me know in the comments if you can hear me.
And can you hear us on Instagram?
Can you hear us? Are we loud and clear? Go. Excellent. Okay. Well, what's up, guys? I'm Jonathan Wyatt. I'm here to help you master your sexual energy so you can manifest your ideal life. And this is my wife, Mariah.
Hi, my name's Mariah, and I don't have a canned introduction like that, but here I am.
We got we got the one microphone situation. We
got two
two mics for Instagram, but anyways, I was having some technical difficulties, so we're doing it old school, but it's gonna work. Okay, guys, we got some exciting things today. Oh, who's on so far? We got Nick Harris. What's up, brother? We got Nisanth. What's up, bro?
Same.
Alex Catsano is my bro. We just had a good session. Was that yesterday? The Sex Cop VIP group. Good to see you, man.
We've got a bunch of people on Instagram, but
Money Mitch. Everybody, sorry, Instagram's way over there. We'll do our best. Okay, well, let's get into it. We got some pretty exciting things to share today. So we're gonna be talking about this tantric secret, and well, we'll get into it. You guys see the title. You know what's in store. So I want to give you guys a little bit of like a story about myself and my upbringing because
and why we're talking about this.
and why we're talking about this today because I personally have gone through a lot of transformation in my life. I don't know, maybe you guys listening here, you've gone through some significant shifts. You made some serious like identity shifts and transformations, and I'm guessing a lot of you have because anyone who's on this journey is on this journey of self mastery, self discovery, and growth. So I grew up in a small town in Idaho. I grew up in a farm, and things were pretty simple. And I got conditioned with a lot of beliefs around the world, and especially things around money and like the things I could and couldn't do. I came from an environment where there wasn't a lot of like big dreams, big thoughts. It's like, oh, okay, like I remember being in high school, it's like I want to make music for a living, and the high school counselor being like, "Oh, that's cute. Like, what's your real plan?" And so, but I was always like, "No, I'm gonna do this." At the time, it was like I want to be a musician, whatever. And but looking back now, I had this identity around like it's going to be a struggle. I'm going to be broke all the time. I but I'm at least going to do what I love. It was like I either slave my life away in a job that I hate or like do what I love and be broke. I thought that that's the choice I had to make. And just to kind of fast forward a few years, when I was I think it's worthy to mention that the process of transformation for me, a lot of it occurred during my sexual kung fu training, practicing qigong, practicing internal alchemy, making some major internal transformations. And then one of the last big pieces for me was my financial relationship. I had very unhealthy beliefs and patterns around money. And we're gonna talk shortly about more what this means and how you can kind of shift these things. But this was the big thing for me. This was the final big thing. And meeting Mariah, my lovely wife, she came from a background in marketing, which she'll talk more about. And she, what I realized from her was like, oh shit, like I have this thing that I'm really good at. Like I was just killing it in my sexual kung fu practice, my qigong practice. Just like, yep, it's just this thing I do. And then I realized, I could teach this to other people. I could create a platform where I'm sharing this with the world, making tremendous impact in the world, changing a lot of lives, and also I could get paid to do that. It's like, huh, this really is okay. It's possible. And like I remember, I first made maybe some of you guys who've been following me for a long time remember Sexual Kung Fu Workout, the original one. I filmed it in my friend's like very poor lit room. Actually, I filmed the original one in my bedroom, and it was like the worst production you've ever seen. But it was a training. I sold it for like I think like $30. And I remember the first time someone bought that thing for $30, I was like, holy shit, I did something that I love. I filmed it and someone bought it for me. And then like every now and then I'd make like $30 selling this thing. And that was already a bonus because I loved doing this. So like the fact that I got money from it too was crazy. And then basically, the first time I launched my MOM course, we had our first like 5-figure month, and my mind was blown. I didn't think that was even possible before. I was like, oh shit, like, okay, there's something to this. And, years later, a couple years ago, we had our first 100K month and, 500K year. So that's kind of where I came from and where things ended up. And we're still, I feel like right now we're just in this phase of just beginning our next cycle of growth. So there's a lot coming in the future. And I'm gonna bring it over to Mariah now, and maybe you want to share a little bit about your background there.
Yes. Okay. Yeah.
The one microphone situation.
I like the shift in the sexy voice to reintroduce me. So, oh, can you go back?
Oh, right. Apologies. Got bullet points to
Thank
keep us
you.
on track.
Just to make sure that I
Well, you don't have
actually
this all memorized?
I do, but I could tell you guys
I'm following bullet points.
I could tell you guys so many other random parts of my story that are not relevant to this. And so, yeah, just giving a bit of background, for me, I grew up in a really tiny little gold mining town, and that was like the big dream in my town. It's like, if you really hit it big, you could work at the gold mine, you could work 12-hour shifts, 4 days off, 4 days on, and then the opposite, 5 days off, 5 days on, and you'd be making bank, which I think it was like the most that I knew people were making there was maybe like 5 to 7,000 a month, and that was just like, "Oh, wow." Like, this is a really unique industry, and, like, this is the only place you can make that kind of money, and that was people's vision in my town, and as I was growing up and watching my dad work at the gold mine, and later on, I ended up working at the gold mine during the summers as well, and my first summer there, I got super, super sick, and I was like, "You know, I don't think this is for me." Like, even though the money's great, even though I just work here in the summer and I think I would make like 20 or 30 grand in the summer, and then that would get me through my whole college year. I was like, you know what? I don't think this is worth it. I don't think that being absolutely exhausted and spending my entire summer as an 18 to 19-year-old just grinding and slaving away, like, I don't think it's worth it. And I remember thinking the same thing growing up watching my mom who worked for the building department in our town, and I would go over there after school during during school season, and, I would help her file paperwork, back in the days, like, before dial-up and before before the internet was such a big
Paperwork.
thing. Yeah, paperwork, physical papers, and, I would almost every single day, I would go and I would help her file for the last couple hours of her being at work, and I just kinda thought the same thing of, like, "This is what she's been doing for, like, 40 years?" Like, I feel like there has to be more life. Like, I don't know what it is, but I feel like there has to be more. And my freshman year in high school, I got into an art class, and that started introducing the idea to me of being able to create art for advertising that would allow me to do work on my laptop that maybe I could still travel and get paid for that. And so that was my big dream. So I decided to go to Boise State for graphic design, ended up getting that degree, went to Australia to study abroad for a year. And while I was there, I interned for a startup company. And that was really my first my first time being around a really, really expansive group of people where I think there was 5 of us in this teeny little garage. It was probably like 10 or 15 square feet around, like really, really small, with 5 different desks crammed in there above a garage, like super startup. And just hearing them talk about their vision every day and me doing their graphic design and starting to learn more about marketing and helping them with that and recognizing like, wow, like these are just normal people. They didn't like come from wealth. They aren't doing anything bad. Like it was basically like a Nike in Australia. That was the type of company. So it was helping people with health. And I was just like being mind blown every day. Just like, wow, this is something that people get to do and they're finding a way to make money for it. And so I ended up getting into network marketing and got around other people who were really expansive for my own money mindset because I remember so many times growing up, in a tiny town on a ranch thinking like, you know, people who make a lot of money are bad people and they just take advantage of other people and it's not good if you have a lot of money. It's not good for you and it's not good for other people because they're going to judge you and shame you and make you a bad person and you don't want all of the heaviness that comes with that. And so once I started getting into working with that startup and getting into network marketing, my own mindset around money really shifted because I was like, oh, it's actually not money that's the bad thing. It's what you choose to do with it. And it's how you choose to make it. And you get to actually have a say in all of that. That was something I keep saying mind blown. But when I was in college, I took a marketing class. I think it was my first one. And I started learning about the sales psychology behind mostly women's products like makeup, skincare, clothes even, and they started teaching about how what most companies will do is really exploit people's pains and shame and guilt and really dig hard into that, which I feel like is so people recognize it more now because it's so blatant, it's so obvious. But I don't know, this was like 2011, and that was the first time I had heard of that, and I was like, "Oh, these companies are choosing to make people feel bad so that they buy their stuff. How could someone do that?" And so that was the moment that I was like, "Okay, I have to help people see that there's actually a kind way to get people to buy your stuff. There's actually a kind way to invite people into your offers. There's actually a way that benefits is mutually beneficial to both people. That's what I have to help people with." And so that ended up getting me into helping yoga instructors and eventually helping with SKF and yeah, recognizing that like, wow, this guy I started dating, he's doing qigong every single day for hours every single morning, but yet he's teaching music.
And he's a beast in the bedroom.
And he's a beast in the bedroom. And he doesn't ejaculate, and that's kind of weird. And I don't know if it's a medical condition. I don't know if I should be concerned, but like I think it's a good thing.
I hold it in, baby.
Yeah.
I hold it in.
Yeah. And so yeah, it just like completely changed everything and had my own ups and downs with like 4 of my own businesses before we started sexual kung fu. And that was the one where I feel like I really took all of my business and marketing and branding and graphic design knowledge and applied it to something that was working really, really well for you as the instructor. And it just like immediately worked. And it was so fulfilling because it was like, ah, we do know what we're doing and we are helping a lot of people.
And we've been crushing it together overall.
Right. That was a long story, I think, but yeah.
So, thanks, Mariah. The next thing I want to talk about here. So, a little bit of a background on both of us. Some of you may have never heard these things before, and just you guys kind of reflect. Like, have you let your past conditioning, like your environment you grew up in, or maybe the environment you're in now, have you let that kind of dictate what your life is going to be, the type of person you're going to be? Because the truth is that we all have a choice. We all can choose the reality we wish to live in. And this is the problem: is that most people just accept the beliefs and the conditioning of those around them as their own, and then they just carry around, their parents' fucking heavy backpacks of lack-mindedness their entire lives. Where other people, will basically there's the choice to release that. So, changing your situation. It's really about shifting your identity. And here's the thing I want to talk about that a lot of people struggle with when it comes to like, talking about financial abundance and like, how do I manifest more money? How do I manifest a better partner? The things that I want. And worthiness is a big thing here. Talking about conditioning. A lot of people are holding the belief that they're not inherently worthy. And this was something I realized that I had on many levels. Like it was this feeling of I don't deserve this. I don't I'm not worthy of receiving this amount of money. I'm not worthy of receiving this type of relationship. And it comes from this lack of self-love. And there's a lot of work to do on this. But essentially, I remember who I was reading from, listening to, but they were talking about like maybe it was Kim Kardashian or something, where they're making like millions and millions a year, and like what are they doing? You know what I mean? So it's like clearly they're worthy of receiving that. So like why shouldn't you, the person who's you're doing your self growth, you're living in integrity, you're doing cool shit. There's no reason you don't deserve. There's no reason you aren't worthy of receiving all of the things that you want. And it's both shifting your identity around that, shifting who you truly feel that you are, and shifting your environment a little bit, shifting your area of focus, and then taking action towards those things as well. Because we were just talking about today about a friend who has these amazing talents and like could be doing that as a career, like, but she's not doing it. She's living a job that's not, a super fulfilling one, because she's afraid to act on her inspiration, essentially. And that's what really separates, I think, successful people from people who just don't seem to grow, is that we all have I'm sure that you have some fantastic ideas. You have some amazing things that you really want to do. You have some dreams. But the difference between people who are successful and people who stay where they're at is that whether or not you act on those things, regardless of how it feels, regardless of the backlash or the pressure against you to not do the thing, regardless of that, you take action. And that's essentially it. Well, it's one thing. It's one thing. So what one thing that I really learned, I've been rereading Napoleon Hill's Think and Grow Rich, and something that book talks about is how successful people use their emotions and their struggles as fuel for their growth, because all emotion is energy. So if you ever find yourself feeling just like frustrated, stuck, this, like for me personally, reflecting on my life, my times of greatest shift and transformation were often times where there had been some sort of pain in my life. There was a great loss or something, and I learned to take this pain and transform it into a drive to change myself, to transform myself. And so it's really about keeping this momentum, using your emotion, using your doubt and your fear as a catalyst for you to grow in the direction that you want to. So, what do you want to say now about that or anything?
Something else just related to the self-perception and identity point. You started bringing it up, or I guess you brought up part of it, but around the Kardashians, which I'm like, I know next to nothing about them. I know that like one of them owns the Skims company, and anyway, a few other little things. But the main thing is that there's a story that I've heard a bunch of different times, and it's that the mom, I think her name is Chris, um, that this was sometime in the last few years that she had an interview, maybe it was with Oprah or someone, and they were asking her about imposter syndrome, and she was saying that even though she's had all of the success and she's built all of these different things, she still feels that imposter syndrome all the time. And something that I think a lot of people don't recognize or don't expect is that no matter no matter what level of both like abundance or pleasure you've created in your life, it always comes like achieving the next level always comes back to, do you believe that you are capable of it, and are you willing to take the actions to create that? Even in the face of feeling like an imposter, feeling like you don't know what you're doing, feeling uncertain, feeling whatever it is, are you still willing to take that action from the inspired place that you have this vision, you have this idea, you have this dream, you have this belief? Will you actually take the step to go after that? And a lot of people won't, and that's why they end up staying stuck where they are, whether that's at incredible levels of success, because we could say that about ourselves, that we've been stuck in a way at the same level of success for the last couple of years, not because we were being lazy or uninspired or anything like that, but we just didn't have a bigger vision that was pulling us forward. And now we have that again. And I know you're going to go into a bit of that story, but it just comes back to that self perception and identity of like, who do you believe that you are? And are you willing to change that in a way that changes the world? Are you willing to see yourself in a different light so that you can do what you're supposed to be doing here on this planet in the first place?
Yes, yes, yes. So, uh, I know you guys are like, what's the secret? What's the secret, Jonathan? You put in the title, what the hell is this tantric secret? To get into the meat of this. um, so here's the thing. When it comes to making these shifts around anything, we can talk about manifestation, we talk about growth, we talk about financial abundance, whatever it is. To make this transformation, it isn't just about like whether that's the sexual kung fu stuff as well, developing your ejaculation control, being great in the bedroom, and having a fat bank account. It's not just about these like techniques and like law of attraction exercises. Like these things are valuable and they can be part of it, but these things help. But again, to shift, it's about changing your core identity. It's about becoming this superhero version of yourself that's like doing the bolder thing, that's doing the inspired thing, to really dream big and think big and then take action on that without questioning it, without acknowledging failure. You know what I mean? And it's also transforming your nervous system. So this is where sex and money, there's this relationship, because both of these things are actually a relationship with something outside of yourself. Well, it's both internal. It's an internal relationship within yourself, but then it's a relationship with outside of yourself. And there's a yin and yang component to it. There's a giving and a receiving. Obviously, in sex, there's someone's penetrating, someone's being penetrated. There's this yin and yang, and people get stuck in this, right? For men, they fear penetrating. They don't feel confident to penetrate the world with their presence. They feel like it's unsafe to do so for whatever reason. Or often it's common for women to feel um, a fear of being penetrated. There's trauma around it. There's past experience around it, etc. So an inability to penetrate and be penetrated, and it's the exact same thing with money. To make money, this is where I think a lot of the law of attraction stuff kind of gets held up. Is that it just becomes this, okay, if I just imagine it, if I just imagine it every day, it's just going to come to me. And it works for some people, but it doesn't work for probably 90% of people. And it's not just that. You have to also take action. You can't get something for nothing. So it's a giving and receiving. The more you're able to give to the world, the more you're able to receive. But if you have a block in either of those things, if you do not feel confident enough to penetrate the world, to act on your inspiration, to believe that, you know what, maybe I do have something unique to share on this and that it will be valuable to people. All the time, I can't tell you how many times I meet people or maybe I have friends, they have amazing gifts, they have amazing talents, they have amazing skills. And when I tell them like, hey, like you could make a career out of this, they're like, yeah, but you can tell that there's like a lack of confidence. They're still have this mindset of they're an 8-year-old boy and they need permission from someone else to do the thing. It's like they're waiting for, well, I need to get this thing first or that thing first. And it's like you're ready when you decide you are. Ultimately, when I started teaching sexual kung fu, I didn't know everything. I knew a lot. I knew a lot more than most people, but I didn't know everything. I've learned, made a quantum leap since then. But I was able to help people without it or through the whole process because I kept learning more and more and more. So when you start to realize that there's this deep relationship, this is what we've been having this conversation for years, but something we're going to be announcing here in a little bit that will go deeper into this, but essentially just how your relationship with your experience of sex and money are always mirrors. Here, you want to say something about it? Okay. So what do I mean by this? Again, do you feel capable of fully receiving pleasure, fully receiving deep, incredible pleasure? Or do you get in your head? Do you say, well, maybe, no, I need to give my partner pleasure. I shouldn't be focused on myself. Or vice versa. Are you overly focused on only your own pleasure and you don't know how to give pleasure? So there's many, many layers to this, but this tends to show up in your financial life as well. Whether it's you have trouble receiving, or you don't feel confident in giving to the world. You don't feel confident that the amazing, unique gifts that the universe gave to you, that's right, I'm talking to you. You have something incredible. I know you know it. You know that you have this certain passion, this certain thing that you enjoy doing, and you could be doing amazing things with that. So I think it's time to step into that, right? And so when you step into that confidence and go for it, now you're penetrating the world. And guess what? You can receive more because you have something to give and receive. So working both with the sex and the money aspect thing, that's been a huge, it's as we came together, as we started dating, it's like, I was the sex baby, 100%. I was the sexual kung fu guy. She was the kind of the marketing guru. And we made some magic happen in and out of the bedroom the past 8 years. This year we've been together. So your turn. Crush it.
Abrupt shift.
Mic drop. Okay.
Oh. Hope that didn't hurt your ears.
Let's make sure this is still only slightly awkward having a one-mic situation. We'll get you guys questions and comments, but we're crushing. Here we go.
Yeah. What? I'm not really sure how to go off of that. I'm like, this feels
tell
separate.
a story about your relationship with sex and money.
Yeah. I mean, I remember.
What have been your challenges?
I'd say I just remember multiple different times before we had met when I would be having more trouble sexually or just completely not interested, have like zero libido. And those always mirrored the times when I was struggling the most financially and wasn't Like, it didn't matter how hard I worked and, like, how many different side hustles and, like, side gigs and side jobs that I would take on to try and make the business that I wanted to run at that time work. It never happened, and my income months would be all over the place. Like, it would be really, really high one month, and then it would be, like, nothing for 2 or 3 months, and then it would be really high again, and that it was literally the exact same in my libido at that time. It was the exact same thing in my sex life at that time, and the times when I can remember when my income would consistently increase more and more and more and more, it was when I was actually doing my own pleasure practices, when I was actually intentionally building my own sexual energy and building my own practice of receptivity, whether that was in, like, getting massages or pleasure or in the bedroom or even just receiving, like, people's compliments at the grocery store of like, "Oh, you have cool hair," and not just being like, "Oh, yeah, thanks, whatever," but, like, actually giving that person the gratitude of receiving their compliment fully and just, like, being present with them, and that when I actually did that, weird, it was reflected in my income. That my income did the same thing, that they were always a mirror for each other. And so, no surprise when we came together, both of our finances significantly exploded. And it was just like, "Oh, s sweet, something here is really working really, really well." And so I feel like it's been something that we've known for a long time that, like, oh, we have this kind of, like, cycle, we have this, like, blueprint that always circles back and happens over and over. And it's just been in the last few months that we've really started identifying it and being able to reflect on it and be like, "Oh shit, this is the cycle. This is what's happening. This is what's going on." And yeah, it's just really, really, really awesome. There was a random different story that I was going to share, more around the stigma that a lot of people have around people who make a lot of money not being good people, and I feel like that's kind of a kindergarten level thing to like release and like once you release that, at least for me, once I moved past that, it never really came back. I haven't had that come up in the same way again, but I heard something today that just completely blew my mind, and it was talking about Reese Witherspoon and how she created this company for, writers, for authors, and she basically puts all of their books on a publishing platform that allows more people to find those books, and that when writers do that, that's obviously giving them a big platform with someone who's very famous's name on it that people will want to check out. But not only that, when they do that, she gets basically the first right of refusal to turn that book into a movie. And so it's giving authors a way to get their art out there, get their words, get their novels, get their books out there in front of people. And then it's also creating a way for Reese and other actors and actresses to turn these really high performing books into best selling movies. And then it gives the viewers an amazing experience as well. And so it's just like, I love hearing stories of really unique ways that people are creating a win-win-win situation for everyone involved, and I feel like that's something we've always tried to do with SKF, and it's just really cool continuing to see that evolve in bigger and bigger ways, that it's like, actually, it isn't just people who wanna be sleazy. It's not just the Wolf of Wall Street people who make money, like, there's other people who make money in very ethical ways, and that's not always what's the biggest and loudest and most popular story that people hear. So, I just love being able to share stories like that.
Beautiful. I love it. Thanks for sharing, Mariah. And so one thing I want to talk about. We were just at Funnel Hacking Live in Las Vegas a few weeks ago. My boy Russell Brunson, love that man. Like, I literally built my business using what I learned from her and what I learned from Russell's books, and like, yeah, built multi-million-dollar business just from that. So I'm like, well, I guess it's about time I like go a little deeper into his stuff. So we go to this event in Vegas, and it was phenomenal. And there's a few things I want to share, but one is that it was such a like just being there, meeting all these incredible people who are doing amazing things. It made me realize that like what it means to be an entrepreneur, what it means to be in business, to be in marketing, is you have the power to change the world. Like, we all talk about, yeah, I'm gonna change the world, and it's like, well, how are you gonna do that? You know what I mean? Well, when you're helping thousands, millions of people, that's changing the world. And then those people, they go help thousands of millions of people. That's dramatic impact. So it's like right now you have the choice. It's like, do I want to maybe step into a higher calling? If maybe I know a lot of you guys who follow me, you are on an amazing path. You are doing amazing things, and that's great. That's great. And if you still feel like you're not really in, you know, your true alignment, your true purpose, then it's time to start. Like there's no reason not to be doing this, okay? And you don't know how many people your wisdom, your life experience, your skill set can dramatically change. Like I'm getting emails and messages almost every day, like just hearing about like how you guys are overcoming porn addiction. You're having a much healthier connection to your sexuality. You're suddenly having all this energy to do amazing things with your life. Like I love it. It lights me up because that was me first studying with my qigong teachers. I'm like, oh shit, this is changing my life. Thank you so much. And now I'm sharing this with other people, and now you guys are going to share your skill set with the world. So like that is what it means to change the world, and you can make a lot of money doing it. There's nothing wrong with that. So it's funny. There's been a vibe shift here in sexual kung fu. Things are changing. Things are up. You guys may notice some of my recent videos have been a little different, been a little vibing. And I'm only going to the max with it, baby. We when we were in Vegas, basically my half the sexual kung fu team quit. You guys may not know I have several people working as part of this business, and I made a post that was a bit triggering, and they quit on the spot, and it was great. It was a purging, realizing that there was people working with me where we had completely different values, completely different, and there was this friction that was limiting my growth. It was limiting the growth of the business. And having just passed through that, her and I have been kind of back to square one in a certain sense of like doing everything ourselves, which made me realize like how much inefficiency there was and things happening. And as I was editing my own videos again, I'm like, this is kind of boring. I'm just kind of throwing information out there. So it just like was this huge reflection of like, okay, it's time for something fresh and new. So there's a lot of cool things coming here in sexual kung fu. And another thing being at Funnel Hacking Live was I really realized that, you know what, I'm decent. I know a thing or two about marketing, business, and like money, financial success. Because I met people there that were like, I was meeting multimillionaires. I'm like, people who are making millions a month. I'm like, that's incredible. But they were just normal people. They were not much different than me. So I'm like, okay, that's what's coming next. And then I was meeting a lot of people who were just starting on this journey. They didn't have anything they were selling or marketing, but they were excited. They knew that they could. And I was like, wow, that was me 8 years ago. And this is where I am now. It's like, okay, I've learned a thing or two. And with that, I want to share with you guys right now. I want to announce a special training that Mariah and I will be doing a week from today. It's called the 500K Bedroom Breakthrough. And we're going to be going into how sexual energy practices, this connection between sex and money, has helped us create 500K years. You're going to learn how the energy blocks in your body create the same limits in your pleasure and your bank account, and how to unblock that. Essentially, you're going to learn the same block that's limiting your orgasms is also capping your income, and how you can use daily practices to remove that without awkward situations or hiring an expensive fake guru who's full of shit and just a pervert. And you're going to learn our exact step-by-step system for transforming sexual energy into financial magnetism that attracted consistent 40K months with us while deepening our intimacy and pleasure. This is how life should be. You should be able to experience more pleasure and make more money. And when you're doing these things, are very much hand in hand. When you unlock your nervous system capacity to hold massive amounts of pleasure and orgasm, all of a sudden you unlock your capacity to penetrate the world with your inspiration, your knowledge, and your wisdom, and have a fat bank account, baby. So link is in the description of this YouTube video. Instagram may not be in the bio yet of Instagram, but I'm emailing it out if you're on the list. Sign up for that. It's free. It's next Friday. It's gonna blow your mind. So
for Instagram, because they can hear me on this mic, just DM us bedroom, and I'll manually send you the link later.
Instagram, DM me bedroom. You'll get the link. So next Friday, free training. It's gonna change your life.
Yeah, don't comment on this video because the comments go away afterwards on Instagram. But just if you're hearing this and you want to get in, it's not on the Instagram link in bio yet. DM us and we'll send it to you.
Okay, Get Right's asking how much he can make from making adult content. I don't know.
OnlyFans is unlimited.
OnlyFans is unlimited, my friend. You do you. All right, we're gonna take a look at these questions, these comments. We're gonna connect with you guys now. Hope y'all have enjoyed the live stream. Okay, sounds like Elliot has some lady issues. Okay. I will just say that your relationship with women is a strong mirror of what's happening within yourself. So it's easy to say like, oh, women are terrible and they will always do terrible things. It's just humans. Humans can be bad. Humans can be good. You know, I'm sure you have like a grandmother or an aunt who's like a really nice, kind person. That could be like your model of a healthy woman. But anyways, you'll sort your lady issues out. It's a mirror of what is happening within you, my friend. So you gotta face it. You gotta own it and get back in the ring, my friend.
There's a good question on Instagram we could answer.
Yeah, grab the.
Well, I'll just read it and then you can repeat.
Okay. But if we grab it, it'll be close, so we can just flippy flop. Oh no,
Or the
that would be the worst thing.
or it might show up in the other camera. Oh wait, you're right.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that. Okay, forget what I said. Keep it where it is. It's a little.
It's crooked. It's awkward.
I've done several lives. I've done several lives where my like my phone is like blocking the camera's view a little bit. Okay.
There it is. So, touch a little bit on making a living on the internet / putting yourself out there on the web. Hesitations, psych around that. Love my family and their privacy, but we do cool shit. I have thoughts around this if you don't.
Yeah, I mean, you start. You start. I've been ranting for a while.
Yeah, you have. Okay. It's so tall.
She said.
That's weird. So basically, when it comes to making a living on the internet, you only have to share as much as you actually want to share. And in case you guys haven't noticed this, even though Jonathan is like going live almost every single week on YouTube, and there's an Instagram, and there's a YouTube, and there's email, there's not that much of our life that's actually on social media because we've chosen not to make it like a lifestyle account. So you're not showing up on Instagram every single day being like, "Hey guys, here's what I ate for breakfast. Here's how I went to the gym." Here, like, you're not showing people every single aspect of your life because that's not actually required to sell. Something that a lot of people get confused about is this idea that in order to make money online, you have to be an influencer, and being an influencer is very different than being a business owner. You don't have to share every aspect of your life in order to be a business owner. Influencers typically tend to share every aspect of their life because they're doing affiliate marketing. So they're mostly sharing other people's products. So it's important for them to show, here's how I integrate this into my day to day life. But even with that, everyone is choosing what they're sharing and what they're not. And there's actually a lot of like mom accounts on Instagram that I follow who they get really creative and fun with how they do or don't show their kids. One of them, Lindsay Girk, if anyone wants to look her up, she shares basically little skits of her playing out her children and doing the ridiculous things that they do. And then she'll show receipts afterwards where their faces are blurred out, but you can like hear the ridiculous things they're saying or see the ridiculous things that they're doing. And so just all of that to say that there's a lot of different ways that you can show up online, and it doesn't have to look the way that it looks for anyone else.